Queen's Hope by EK Johnston, the third book in the Padme-centric trilogy, is out today. I read it, and I'm here to tell you my thoughts in a spoiler-free review. Honestly, I really don't know what to think of this book. I wasn't into it, I was confused by it, and I have a lot of questions about it. I do want to point out that this book was not written for me. I wasn't the target audience here. With that in mind, I expect there are a lot of things that just went right over my head. But the same thing could be said about Queen's Shadow, the first book in this trilogy, and that one really surprised me. I liked it a lot more than I was expecting. And that's not to say Queen's Hope did nothing for me. My favorite parts were a handful of interludes about Shmi Skywalker, Beru White Sun Lars, Padme, and Breha Organa, basically the matriarchs of the Skywalker family, the women who would shape the lives of Anakin, Luke, and Leia. I really enjoyed those sections, and the book is written well. Those passages and several others gave me chills. There are some great lines and great character moments scattered throughout the story. But I don't think the main plot was very engaging. I imagine Johnston was a little bit constrained here. Her story takes place in between Attack of the Clones and the upcoming novel Brotherhood during the first few weeks of the Clone Wars. That's not much time to play with, and it's set in an era we already know a lot about. So I can see why this story had to be almost entirely focused on the characters. I definitely feel like I understand Padme and her romance with Anakin a little more, and why she would want to go through with a secret marriage. I always like seeing Sabe. She is once again a standout in the story, and as an added bonus, it provides more context to the current run of Darth Vader comics, where she recently discovered Padme and Anakin had a son together. I think I wish the book were more focused on Sabe. She was the most compelling part of the story, and she goes through the most change, but that's only like a third of a fairly short book. Queen's Hope is a very fast read. I think it could have benefited greatly from being longer, because I like one of the core themes being explored, I just don't think it got to be explored fully. I saw Queen's Peril as like a Star Wars version of meeting your high school or childhood friends. Queen's Shadow, my favorite of the trilogy, was about going off to college and having to part ways with the people that helped shape you. And now Queen's Hope is about those same relationships in adulthood. You don't see each other as much, you don't tell each other everything anymore. It's difficult and it's sad to think about, but it is part of life. That's how I see these three books as a trilogy. The themes were there, but they're mixed in with a political plot that I thought was confusing and ultimately offers little to no resolution. There's some internal conflict in Sabe as she grapples with her relationship with Padme, but it didn't really seem that big a deal. There's no clear antagonist or villain. I got to the end and I just found myself thinking that not much happened and that there were some questions posed that weren't given any answers. No one story thread felt like it got the full attention it deserved. So yeah, this one wasn't my cup of tea. If you really loved the previous two books in the series, I bet you'll enjoy this one. If you love Padme and Sabe and the Handmaidens in general, there's a good deal of that, of course, but I was personally disappointed with Queen's Hope. That said, I would still welcome more books from Johnston in the future. This one was a misstep for me, but I've really enjoyed her writing in the past. If you still think this book might be up your alley, I'll remind you that you can get it for free on Audible. The audiobook is also out today and is narrated by Catherine Tabor, who voices Padme in the Clone Wars. Check it out at the link in the description or by visiting www.audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained. Let me know what you thought of Queen's Hope in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.